What's up, everybody? Welcome to Using My Story. Today we're having a podcast with my good buddy Brian Aquino. Brian, we've been knowing you. How long have I been knowing you?
For about 5 years.
Nice. Nice. It's been a
Sure.
long 5 years. Nah, just kidding. Nah, always good to work with Brian. So, Brian, why don't you introduce yourself and share a little bit about how you grew up?
Yeah. Well, my name's Brian, and I grew up in the city of Monterey Park. And the funny thing is, I grew up in Monterey Park, but across the street was actually the Montevilla Projects. So you had East LA right across the street, but somehow I got the good side, which was Monterey Park. But right
The
there was
good side.
Montevilla. It was the projects.
Yep.
And just I grew up in with a good family. My mom and dad did their best, and um, I went to a good school. The thing about the school is there was a lot of rich people. There was a lot of um, kids that were just they were just also mean. I went to good school, but yet the kids there were very mean.
Yeah.
And so I grew up being bullied. I started getting bullied when I was actually in fifth grade. So when I was in fifth grade, a lot of kids would just bully me because I was in RSP, which is special classes. So I didn't know how to read right. I didn't really know how to write or do anything good as far as education or even talk. Um, so a lot of the kids were mean and they would pick on me. They would come on, they would like come on me and just beat me up and they would push me. They would and yeah, they would bully me a lot. And so that's how I grew up when I was in fifth up to where I was fifth grade where I was getting bullied. And then I joined boxing when I was in seventh grade because I was like, man, I'm tired of the bullying. That's when I actually got involved with some bad influence. I got involved with some bad influence, and that guy showed me the boxing gym. And when I joined the boxing gym,
Hold
uh,
on. So you got connected with like a guy who was like a bad influence, and then he's the one that showed you the boxing gym.
yeah.
Okay, got it. Got it.
So
Okay, go ahead.
so
Where'd you meet this guy?
in school,
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
in school, and so at this point I was already getting mad. I was angry that a lot of people were just picking on me. I didn't like anything about it. So um, my friend told me to go to the boxing gym. I said, okay, I like to do that because I need to learn how to defend myself.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I started joining the boxing gym. And when, the first time I've ever got in a fight, um, it was I was 13 years old. I was in seventh grade, and the when it was this big guy, he was a sophomore.
So you were seventh grade. He was a 10th grader.
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
I was in seventh grade. He was a 10th grader. This guy was like 5'8". I'm like 5'1". On a good day with my Air Maxes, I'm 5'2". So, so a lot of people would pick on my size.
Yeah.
So they would make fun of my size too because I'm smaller,
Yep.
and that would get to me. And
Mm.
so it would get to me a lot. And this guy would always pick on me. We would always walk. I would always walk with my friend, and we would walk home. And this guy was always showing up. He was walking to the same spot because he was actually my neighbor.
Oh.
And he one day he just comes up to my friend. He's talking crap, and he comes up to my friend and he pulls he like grabs my friend's shirt, and I just threw the first punch. And
Dang.
that guy falls straight to the ground. He comes right back up. He doesn't even go after me. He goes after my friend.
Oh,
And I'm like, what the
dang.
heck? And then the funny thing is, this guy, like I said, this guy's tall. So I'm over here like jumping and I'm punching and I'm jumping. And yeah, we beat him up. But next thing I go home, we go home. We're
You
like,
were
we're
jumping and punching.
yeah, I was jumping and punching him because I'm short. This guy's like 5'8".
That's
He's a
crazy.
sophomore, and
Dragon Ball Z
yeah.
type of stuff. The old jumping punch. Dang.
Yeah. So the next thing that happened, we go home. Me and my friend were like, yeah, we got this guy. Like we beat him up. We jumped in. We basically, yeah, we beat him up pretty bad. And and then we hear a knock. We're like, what the heck? What's that? Um, and then it's the cops. The cops, they're like, it's the cops. Open the door. And we're like scared, like, oh dang, like this guy, the cops they're gonna take us to jail or something. We didn't know what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And so all they did was just put us on the floor, and then they started asking us questions. They called our parents, and then that's when my parents took control of the situation. They said, I don't want you hanging out with this person ever again. And so I didn't. And then from there, once I went into eighth grade, that's when that's when I found God in my life. I found God in my life, and then when I was 13, um, my my uncle, he invited me. From 13 to 14, when I went to high school, that's when I removed God in my life. Once I went into high school, the only reason was because my family, they moved us to Fontana. So I was mad about it. I was pissed off. They didn't want to hear my part of it, and they were doing their best. They were getting a house,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was just pissed off because they were moving me away from church. They were moving me away from my boxing gym. They were moving me away from my school and my high school. And I started freshman year there in Marquepo High School, and I was getting comfortable. I was getting to know everyone. Everyone I grew up with, they were there, and then I went into high school in Fontana High School, and that's when the depression started hitting my life. So I became very depressed. I started just. I remember telling myself, if my parents they don't care what I think about it, then I'm just gonna do other things. I'm just gonna hang out with other people that are just more of a bad influence in my life. Since they were trying to control that part, I'm gonna find out new things. I started smoking weed, and then I started drinking. I started going to parties, and I was in the baseball team, and they were the ones that influenced me to do all those things.
The dudes on the baseball team.
Yeah, the dudes
Yeah.
on the baseball team, they were like, "Come party with us,
Yeah,
come hang
yeah.
out with us." You would think you're in sports, hey,
Yeah.
you'll get yourself out of trouble, but that's actually what got me in trouble and
All the
seeking all
cool
these things.
kids.
Yeah, all the cool kids. So, yeah, so I just started going into depression where I was just isolating myself a lot. So I would isolate myself, and I was still pissed off. I was still dealing with anger myself. Never dealt with the anger, never dealt with the depression. Just, just I held everything in to the point where I didn't. I said I didn't need God in my life anymore. So I pushed God. I don't want to do anything with God, and and I remember my old pastors. I would go to their house, and they would tell me like, keep coming back to church, and I would just go to hang out with them.
Yeah.
But I would go hide to their house. I would go smoke. I would
Oh.
after smoking a blunt, I'll go there. I would spend the night at their house,
they
and
know?
then they would tell me come to church, and they knew. So,
They knew
I
you were
mean,
high.
actually, no, they didn't. I think they knew until after I told
Why,
them.
why do you think you were getting high that much? Do you think you were addicted to the weed?
Um, I like the feeling.
You like the feeling?
I like the feeling.
Do you think you were smoking so you could, because you were sad?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I like the feeling of just like being calm, just chill, not having to think about anything, just being able to laugh, and just being able to smile.
Hey, did you ever, sometimes when I used to smoke, I would do it because I was like trying to get high and be happy, but I would smoke and then I would like get super sad. Like
Yeah,
has that ever happened to you?
yeah,
Like you get smoke a big old blunt to try to get happy. Like, and I would smoke a big old blunt and I would just start thinking about my life. Like, man, my life
yeah,
sucks.
yeah. No, exactly.
It's like the worst high ever. Because you just start, like, you'd be sitting on the curb looking at your friends like, man, is this who I really hang out with? Like, what the heck's wrong with me?
No, exactly. Yeah, actually, that was going through my mind because I was thinking, man, I have so much more. Like, there's so much more in me. I know I can do so much more, and but I just felt in my life any examples, no models in my life. No one to say, "Hey, Brian, like let me take you under my wing.
Yeah.
Let me show you. Let me teach you." I think the only person I had was really was my boxing coach. That really took me in and said, "Hey, let me take you in.
Yeah.
Let me show you. Let me teach you. Let me teach you how to even do life." And but when I moved, that got taken away from me, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's why that's why where the anger was still in there.
How did you end up leaving the weed and the alcohol and getting out of that depression? What did you do to get out of that?
Um, so right after high school, okay, so right after high school, I got into a relationship, and then I it was a long term relationship. That even put me to a point where I was even more depressed, where I was thinking of suicide thoughts. I was thinking of thoughts of I just want to end my life. I have no purpose, and what's the point of even living? So um, I the reason why I didn't even go to a point where I'm gonna try it out because I knew God was real. So I was scared. I was like,
Yeah.
if hell's a real thing, I don't want to go there.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just told myself I ain't gonna go there. But I thought about it, like, man, like I don't have anything in life right now, so like maybe that might be an option. But once I thank God, once I started thinking about that, um, I actually noticed my uncle was going to a church, and I haven't like I stopped going to church when I was 14.
Yeah.
When I was 13, I started going to church. I stopped when I was 14. I was on fire for God at that time for a whole year. I was like in youth service. I was enjoying it, and then high school just ruined that for me, and 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 just moving that ruined it for me. So I didn't want anything to do with God. And then when my uncle started going, I saw that he was happy, he was enjoying himself, and he was connected with some great people. And I was like, okay. I actually blocked his number because he kept inviting me. Yeah, I blocked his number. He kept inviting me to this church and to his groups,
Yeah.
and I was like, dude, this guy keeps it. Like, I went once, and then he kept inviting me, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna, like, I don't want to go because I just wanted to go just to support him and tell him, oh yeah, cool, I went.
So he could leave you alone?
Yeah, leave me alone.
Yeah.
And so I blocked his number, and then I unblocked it when I was going through that situation of suicidal thoughts, and I called him. I said, hey, I need help. Like, I don't. I'm just depressed. Like, I don't know what else to do. I'm seeing that you're very happy, and I want some of that. And and he said, okay, bro. He said, I'm ready to help you. I'm ready to take you in and give you everything I can. And I just remember that time. Sorry,
No, it's good.
but that someone was able to take me in for the first time and teach me how to fall in love with God again.
That's
You know,
good.
come back to God um, and walk me through the journey. And once I put God in the center of my life, that's when the depression started leaving. So a lot of what a big part of treatment is is finding a higher power, right?
Yeah.
Finding a God in their life. For me, it was Jesus Christ. It was God that came in my life and changed it, and that's a very big part in treatment. You know, when it
Yeah.
comes to mental health or when it comes down to substance abuse, that's like the number one part of just of treatment,
I agree.
and that's how I got rid of it is just putting God in my life, and I've I'll never get I'll never put God second, third. He's number one.
I like
Yeah,
that. That's good.
number one.
So God is really the reason why you got better
Yeah,
in relationship with God. What would you say to somebody? We're running out of time, so you're gonna have to come back like 10 more times.
for sure.
So, what would you say to a parent or someone who has a young person who's shut down. They don't want to talk. They're different than they were when they were little, and now they got this person in the house who's isolated. They're going downward spiral. Things are falling apart. What would you say to those parents to help their kid?
I would say just listen, listen, listen. You know, hear them out, and just love them, love the heck out of them, and just that's all I can really say. Yeah,
Because it gets wild, huh? When you're a teenager,
yeah.
you get crazy.
You get crazy. You don't know what's going on in high school. You don't know what's going on with their thoughts. You don't know what's going on with who they're hanging out with. So I
And
would
they're trying to figure it out too. They
yeah.
don't know either.
Yeah.
So just being there for them, loving them, and then if anybody is struggling with their teen or any adolescents, someone struggling with addiction, feel free to reach out to us. We could even put them on the phone with Brian. Brian will be available to talk and try to help them get free from that addiction or that depression, anything that's holding them back. So that would be great for us to be able to help any young people, teenagers, high school, junior high. We see, especially right now, there's so many young people who struggle with addiction. They're trying the press pills, they're smoking weed, they're hitting the vapes, they're hitting the carts, sometimes getting them off the streets. They don't really know what's in it, and they're getting addicted or dying.
So can I say something real quick?
Yeah,
The reason why I didn't go to hard drugs because I was afraid that I was gonna die and overdose.
that's good.
I just stuck to the weed. I was like, man.
Yeah, heck yeah, that's good. So, thank you guys for tuning in. If you need any help, feel free to reach out. If you want to talk to Brian, send me a message. The phone number's on the screen. And keep liking, subscribing, and sharing, and we'll see you next time.